Hello everyone, this is Rajiv Sannaki, Department of Civil Engineering, Jain Polytechnic, Belgavi. So in the previous lecture, we discussed about the classification and properties of soil. So in the next, that is this lecture, we will be dealing with 3 lectures, that is 2, 3 and 4 of Unit 1, that is soil and its properties. So the contents with which we will be dealing with in this lecture are suitability to construction of structures, bearing capacity, determination of safe bearing capacity of soils by plate load test, suitability of soils for construction. So here you can see a table which is divided into 3 types, that is soil type, foundation and trouble areas, which means what type of soil is good for foundations and what are the disadvantages and advantages or the suitability of soil for construction. So if you are using sand in footings, retaining walls and in pile foundations, so it is economical, easy to construct, but the trouble area, that is the disadvantage here you can see, is that the bearing capacity of sand is very less. So excessive settlement in wet and loose deposits. So now coming to the next soil type, that is clay. If you are using clay in footings and retaining walls, obviously as in sand, the clay is also economic but may have problem with the bearing capacity. Clays are self-supportive up to a certain height, must be used if height increases beyond the critical. So clays have low bearing capacity, generally low shear strength when moisture enters the soil. So after understanding the table, we come to an image where you can see a house constructed on 2 different types of soils, but the house is designed for sandy soil. So if the house is designed for sandy soil, it will be stiff and strong, but if one part of the house is lying on silty soil, it will be having low bearing capacity, which leads to unequal or differential settlement. So next, coming to what is bearing capacity. So bearing capacity of soil is the pressure the soil can take from the upcoming structure. So in technical terms, the bearing capacity of soil is perhaps the most important of all the topics in soil engineering. In geotechnical engineering, bearing capacity is the capacity of soil to support the loads applied to the ground. The bearing capacity of soil is the maximum average contact pressure between foundation and the soil, which should not produce shear failure in the soil, which means the time till the soil can bear the loads coming from the structure. So next is determination of bearing capacity, that is safe bearing capacity of soils by plate load test method. So this is one of the method where you are using to determine the bearing capacity, that is plate load test method. So it is a field test for determining ultimate bearing capacity of soil and likely settlement under given load. Here what you are doing is you are using circular or square plates of mild steel not less than 25 mm in thickness and of size 300 to 750 mm. So here ultimate bearing capacity of soil is divided by suitable factor of safety up to 2 to 3 to arrive at the value of safe bearing capacity of soil. So here you can see the setup of plate load test by gravity loading. So there is a setup of 2 columns where a hydraulic jack is used in between and a plate, circular or rectangle plate, is placed on the ground and loading is given to determine the bearing capacity. So gravity loading method, it is also called as reaction method. So in this case, a platform is constructed and loads are placed on the platform in the form of sandbags, pig iron, concrete blocks. Many a times a hydraulic jack is also placed between the loading platform and the column top for applying the load to the test plate. The reaction of the hydraulic jack being borne to the loaded platform. So this, as I said, this method is also called as reaction loading. So what are the uses after conducting plate load test to determine the ultimate bearing capacity? So the uses are to find out the ultimate bearing capacity of proposed foundation, to determine the settlement of the footing under load intensity. We can design shallow footing for any allowable settlement. So this is the apparatus of plate load test method, that is by gravity loading. Thank you.